I'll be the only person who's going to change. You know. They are puppets of their mediocre programming because most of us were programmed by ignorant parenting. Most of us were programmed by ignorant parenting and ignorant eldership. And even conventional schooling that we went to is still ignorance is certain. That's why millions of Nigerians cannot solve their own personal problems, despite the fact that they are graduates. Because the conventional school does not prepare you to be life and career ready. Most especially if you understand how the conventional school was put together. Now, the things I'm saying are usually not mainstream. Whatever coach that you have had, they do not have the courage to go this unconventional. And this is the reason why I brag about my competence. Because I would lead you to your roots. I will lead you to your core so that you can face your own demons. You can face your own shadows. Right? Second decade, age 11 to 20. What happened within that decade? What happened to you? Oh, that was when you got into secondary school. Okay. What's harm of GS1 were you in? A lot of what happens in most people's lives are things that corrupt their destiny. On the basis of the ignorance of the people they inherited. Their parents, their teachers, their religious leaders. Everything you can remember about the second decade of your life. Everything. Oh, you went to represent your school. Everything you can remember. Oh, you were involved in a fight. I remember when I was in SS2. That was the first time I ever fought in second. In all my school years, the first and only time I fought. And I destroyed the guy's hand. You know, they used to call me Bash Ali, and I'll come to school very early and I'll be very early. I'll be the only person who's going to change. You know. So one guy caught me because I never wanted anybody to catch me doing it. But one guy came early to that day and caught me doing it. So he just spread it across the school that this guy don't Bash Ali. So everybody started calling me Bash Ali, right? So there was this guy who was very angry that is it because they're calling you Bash Ali? No, it just dragged me, you know. I went to Mayflower, right? So there was this particular empty class behind my class. So he just dragged me to that class. He will show me that he's bigger than me. Okay now. I didn't know he was a left-handed guy. So I was expecting him to throw his right punch. So he just threw his left punch. I said, oh, so you're left-handed. Okay. I staggered. Then, as he was bringing his left punch again, I just hit him on his hand. That was how the fight ended. His wrist shifted and they rushed him to the special. That's the only fight I had. All through school, right? When I was doing my life audit, instead, the guy met me. He connected with me 3 years ago on LinkedIn, and he was reminding me of the fights. Right? Like everything about you. See, these details, this data, you'll be shocked at how it will all of a sudden start helping you to gain clarity. Because see, the journey of life is about gaining clarity. The higher the quality of clarity you can gain, the higher the quality of success you can achieve. And see, don't be a puppet of external clarity, looking for somebody external that will help you give you clarity. No, you have all of the requirements. You have all of the requirements. So everything you can remember in the second decade of your life. Oh, maybe your parents were rich or were okay in the first decade, and then something happened in the second decade. They were now struggling financially. That's it. Everything. Third decade. Third decade audit. 21 to 30. In my book, in my first book, Personal Discovery Secret, I introduced a concept called the defining decade. Right? The defining decade. Or should I say the first defining decade? This is the first defining decade. A lot of young people under 21, they feel that, my youth, I can just be delinquent, I can just squander my youth. Depending on how old you are, right? You do an audit of the third decade as well. This is the first defining decade, 21 to 30. Is when you lay the first foundation of the rest of your life. All of those people that tell you, oh, if you are still 35, you are still young, there's no time in a lie. It's just motivational speaking. There is a structure of consciousness. There is structure of consciousness. 21 to 30 is your first defining decade. This is when you're going to lay the foundation of the rest of your life. Age 0 to 20 is parenting. You're under the tutelage of your parents. If you are still under the tutelage of your parent at 21, something is wrong. Your parent did not do a good job. Because parenting should be the authority that takes you from dependency to independency. But of course, if you were raised by ignorant parents, what can they do? How can they help you? Because see, the journey from the womb is the journey from dependency. The journey from the womb to the tomb is the journey from dependency to interdependency. First, dependency. When you were born, right? You have to depend on your mom for breastfeeding, right? Then you are supposed to move to independence. Then interdependence. And then we live in an interdependent universe. We live in an interdependent world. Highbridge homes is an interdependent ecosystem. And the only way you are going to operate optimally within an interdependent ecosystem is if you as an individual, people who have refused to outgrow dependency. Office politics shunts the growth of an organization, creates undesirable atmosphere for growth. It is people who have not become independent that will be envious of another person. You are still a toddler. You are still dependent. A toddler, someone that is depending on our mother's breasts for food. Because, people say things like, I'm feeling bored, right? You hear people say, yeah, I'm bored. Yeah. You're bored because you're a loser. You have a brain, you're bored. You're not engaging your brain. So I'm bored, so I need a distraction. That's what they are saying now. Your brain is not working. You're not putting your brain to work. I've never said it before in my life that I'm bored. I've never said it. But most people have not really they've not been educated like this. And of course, it's the same mainstream content that you watch a movie and in the movie, somebody that you love, an actor that you love, they say, I'm feeling bored. So you think that it's normal thing. You feel bored. You feel bored. It doesn't matter the surrounding motivation that is coming to you. You won't. Right? So depending on your age, for instance, I'm 40. If I'm carrying out, because I did my life audit for the first time in 2015, right? So I've not had to do life audit anymore. So the reason you need to do a life audit, at that time, that's when self-parenting, as a matter of fact, the way I'm going to raise my kids, even as teenagers, they're already parenting themselves. So that they will even have a head start before they turn 21. I want my son to be a millionaire by 15. So you see, mindset is everything. So of course, if there is in the infrastructure of poverty, there's also the infrastructure of wealth, right? Right? the environment, the environmental infrastructure of wealth, the mindset. Forget the fact that you were raised to eat so-called breakfast. Because breakfast is not the food you eat in the morning. Breakfast is the food you eat after the first meal you take after 12 noon. That's breakfast. It says you are breaking your fast. So, and a lot of people say things like, when I was sleeping, I was not eating. Were you supposed to be eating when you were sleeping? They say, so I'm breaking the fast of while I was sleeping because I was not eating while I was sleeping. So it's not breakfast. Breakfast is from the time you woke up and the time you took your first meal. So the minutes or hours that existed between the time you woke up and the time you took your first meal, that's the hours you calculate as breakfast. And you are breaking your fast. So for an adult, it should be at least 12 noon. Starchy foods takes about 6 hours, at least 6 hours to digest. Starch. 6 hours. So let me break some things down to you that nobody has ever broken down to you. So-called animal protein. It takes between 48 hours and 96 hours for it to completely digest. Just in case you know. These are part of the things that is causing you to be procrastinating when you wake up. When it is 5 a.m. and you cannot get up. There is dead weight in you. See, understand what I'm telling you. It's not, nobody taught me this. I researched it like mad because I used to fall sick a lot as a child. I wanted to find out why should I be falling sick. When internet came, cyber cafes, days of cyber cafes, 2002, 2003. These were the things I was researching. 2002, 2003. There are websites that I got some of this information from back then. They no longer exist. Some of them, they were deliberately pulled down by Google. Because they're educating people too much. They don't want people that are empowered. Right? Fish. Top of the day will be done between the time you wake up and 12 noon. If you miss out on that time frame, wait till the next day. Because the only thing, this is a time of prime energy. The only thing that can give you prime energy is sleep. Night sleep. We see, people will wake up literally 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. and the first thing they are doing is they want to go to the smartphone, they want to go to the internet, they want to go to social media. They want to go and see what Instablog Nigeria have posted. Prime energy is squandering it on useless things. The best work of the day will be done from the time you wake up and 12 noon. So you must prioritize between the time you wake up and 12 noon for doing your most important work of the day. And that is if you already know what your most important work of the day is. Because there are many people who don't even know what they ought to be doing, and they are employees. Even those so-called, I'm my own boss, story. I'm my own boss, and you have spent like 12 hours watching useless things on social media. You spent 8 hours. You have not even spoken to anybody about your business. But you have been in the comment section of macaroni. You have been in the comment section of VDM. Saying, joining the bandwagon of, Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. Is that your job? Your body is in natural detoxification mode from 4 a.m. to 12 noon. That's number one. It is also the 8th hour of your highest prime for content creation, for prospecting. Use it for the most important work before it expires, before it gets exhausted. And that is from the time you wake up. See, one of the things I say to myself, okay, how many hours will I have woken up before the sun rises? That's the challenge. I'm always trying to get on every now and then. Can I be awake 5 hours before the sun rises? And I will have done some good work, some good 5 hours work. Do you know that if you do what you ought to do before 12 noon, you can play for the rest of the day? I'm telling you. How much more? you now do the best work of your day before 12, and you still continue doing some more work. You're going to be ahead of your peers now, normal level. Because most people, apart from the fact that they complain about Mondays, I'm talking about most employees, right? They don't, when they wake up early, it's not so that they can become in charge of the route of their day. It is so that they can beat traffic. I tell people that your house should not be more than 2-3 kilometers away from where you work. Because you're going to be spending a huge chunk of your life in traffic. Why did I shut down my office at phase 1? Because I was spending too much time in traffic. I work from home now. I've made more money from home than I've ever made in any office. Because I've eliminated that. First off, go to be going on the road. I've eliminated that. And if you calculate that 1.5 hours, 1 hour every day, so 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 3 hours every day, calculate it. You will have been able to use that to get ahead of the curve. So, if you don't have the luxury of working from home, then make sure that where you live is not so far from where you work. I even prefer that you can take a walk from home. I'm telling you. See, look at these things. These are the things you need to put in place to become a high-performing individual. Let it be that the only time you want to go on a journey is when there's an appointment with the client. Otherwise, you're going to have an exhausted life. So you must learn, privately conserve your energy, publicly conserve your energy. You need to be in the public domain, right? For you to sell. I mean, you can't sell in the private domain. You sell in the public domain. You market in the public domain. You prospect in the public domain. You advertise in the public domain. I'm going to talk about that in the practical practical sales management class module. But you see, you have to guard your energy because that's your ultimate currency. That's your ultimate instrument. Don't just leave yourself open to energy vampires. So I didn't really give the normal. 2022, I sold over 900 million naira worth of property. 2023. One person bought a property of 750 million in phase 1. See, when you are a carrier of sweet energy, a lot of people that maybe got to meet me on TikTok, stumbled upon me on TikTok, and they met me in person. They're like, you're calmer in person than you are on just social media. Why? Because I don't want charlatans to come into my life. So all the charlatans, know in advance, you are not permitted. You are not permitted. It is the true people who have some kind of mission-oriented individuals that will go beyond that and then still come to me. They will not realize that, oh, okay, I see your strategy. I've never in any day woken up to say, I want to do evil to anybody, I want to wicked somebody, I want to be an opposition to anybody.